So Tom, guest that almost needs no introduction because he's such an old bean moldering at the back of the bean bin at this point. One of the biggest, smelliest, oldest beans around. Tom, I gotta ask, how does it feel to be the person, the pal that came to mind when a patron said, cover Meet the Feebles? And we went, Tom would be good for that. Does that feel insulting at all? It was a concern of mine.
It's entirely appropriate.
Okay, great. Okay.
Good, because we were sitting in our altar room that we have with the two rocks facing each other, burning candles, shrieking. And we're like,
Mommy! Daddy!
And it happened. It just happened organically one night.
That's the title of that old classic film, right? It happened organically one night.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If people aren't aware,
it's about the Titanic turning into a biomechanical organism. Sorry.
Meet the Feebles. It was about a series of half technological, half organic hybrid beings, commonly referred to as Muppets or puppets. That's one of the early films of Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame. And famously, if you're not aware, his early movies are all gnarly and nasty, and sometimes for humor's sake, sometimes for gross out shock value, sometimes both. But he had back in the day a very what do you call them? Toxic Avengers, making people
trauma.
Real rude.
What's that outfit?
Trauma.
Yeah, he had a trauma sensibility, and in the early days before coming to Frighteners, which is like half and half. It has gross out, but it feels real, and then catapulting to the world of Lord of the Rings. I wanted to get out of the way as quickly as possible because I'm sure most of our listeners know that, as they know that this is Frame Rate, where we rate frames. I'm Michael Swaim.
I'm Abe Epperson, and we're joined by Tom Reimann, which we said.
Hi. Yes, and shout out to Doc Slaphammer, recurring patron, who brought us a little mini series of good Cronenberg movies that I hadn't seen that I greatly appreciated.
Yeah, this tops it off.
And now is topping it off, and I believe stepping out of the Pick the Flick slot, if anyone else out there wants to. But for now, we're meeting the Feebles, which is literally just, a straight up, what if the Muppet Show, and it's funny because it's as dirty and dark and awful as it could be, as much as the Muppets are wholesome. So in a nutshell, because I don't want to have to synopsize other than outrageous moments we catalog, Meet the Feebles is, what if, Kermit was addicted to crack and had AIDS, and Rolf was a drug-dealing sadomasochistic
sucking
maniac
dicks.
And they were all sucking dicks in the basement filming snuff films, and Gonzo was a goddamn pervert, which he is kind of pervert coded, but they don't lean into it. We're gonna lean into it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's Meet the Feebles.
Everybody's coming.
Everyone's coming. A lot of Muppet cum, puppet cum. We did something similar to this recently with that terribly reviewed Dirty Puppets. They're going to be detectives movie.
The Happy Time
Murders. Yeah.
Happy Time Murders. We had Avenue Q. This is old hat. Even I would say in a before this, or I guess even after this too, because I think like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, not necessarily
Ren
taking
and Stimpy,
from this,
right? Defile the child-friendly thing,
right?
Is so classic.
Because this is 89. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I think was 88.
88.
Right, so they're still in the zeitgeist, very popular. This kind of like, what if they're rude, huh? It's like the late 80s, early 90s.
It's interesting because it makes me I want to throw to Tom for a traditional opening gambit, but you did make me realize a powerful thing, so I got to share it, which is that like that somehow coincides in the history of humanity and storytelling with the fact that there even is a childhood to protect. Right? Because back in the day, you'd plow the fields, and at that same time, contemporary stories included monsters and drugs and wolves to eat you up, because from jump, you had to know the world was dangerous because it's the fucking Dark Ages. Whereas I do think alongside the evolution of the more modern idea of a magical childhood where you're protected from some ideas like mortality or no, magic could be real. No, you're old enough now to know that. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But like that sort of opens the path for, so there's childhood now, huh? What if I fuck that up? I'm going to totally shit on that. That's funny. To disrupt that social convention that we all need to
go through that. We need dead baby jokes.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through dead baby jokes.
Yeah.
Right?
But to honor the format, Tom, when did you first encounter Meet the Feebles as a legendary pop culture analyst yourself? How did it make you feel? And what are your thoughts on it to this day? How many times have you watched it? Anything in that area you want to spiel on?
This is going to be fun. I hadn't seen it before today.
Yes, Tom. That's what I was hoping for.
Tom, we were
but aware by reputation. Aware by reputation.
Oh, very aware of the movie. Yeah,
but you've seen Dead Alive.
I was a big fan of his other dirtbag movies, Dead Alive or Brain Dead, as it's called in New Zealand. Bad Taste, I've also not seen.
It's like how Evil Dead is to Evil Dead 2. It's sort of Bad Taste is to Dead Alive. It feels like a dry run of literally just like, can we slam together gore effects? Oh, we can. It's like there's some aliens, they eat people, we shoot back. Yeah, and then Meet the Feebles is somewhere in between. He's definitely practicing. Yeah, and
those were the two that I was really into were Dead Alive and The Frighteners. I've seen Dead Alive, I don't know how many times, but that was the big one for me. But I was well aware of Peter Jackson as like this punk rock, horror, gross, nihilistically comedic director. So him getting Lord of the Rings, I remember, seemed weird to me, but also I was like, well, I could kind of see it. The monsters are going to be sweet. Like, I was thinking, like, that's kind of the first thing I thought was like, oh man, the orcs are going to be sick. Shelob, get the fuck out of here.
He works hard on that. Yeah.
These Nazgul will be fucking.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought of the joke of like, you're New Line Cinema, executive, and you're like, hell yeah, finally, Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna finally get that Gandalf I wanted, who sucks his own dick.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm yes-anding that. I don't know exactly what you mean. Go on. And they're
his
like,
own head up his ass.
Oh, you're alluding to potentially the most racist joke of the movie.
Oh yeah, that guy. Racist. The only human, I believe, too. Because they're all
he's
Muppets.
Depicted as a human puppet, and there's no humans, right? There's no Sesame Street hybrid. Yeah, it's a world of only puppets.
Other than the clearly like people that are running and just have a
giant
helmet,
mascot heads. Yeah,
that's a hippo. Yeah.
Oh, or the shots where you see a human hand moving stuff around at the edge of frame, and you're like, well, that's just a mistake, is what that is. But God bless them. There are a few shots where you can see the strength.
There's also, if you watch it right now on like Amazon and whatnot, it's going to be 16:9. It was meant for 4:3. It was meant for TV. So that's crop that is introduced like so many Netflix shows like Buffy or Star Trek,
right?
Where you're like, oh, boom stand.
Right. Okay, so it's hot off the presses. Back to you, Tom. How'd you come away from this as someone who knew here comes some wild shit? And I like Peter Jackson. Do you like King Kong, by the way?
Oh no, I didn't. I was really psyched for it too. Because I'm a big fan of the 33 original, and I knew that he was gonna restore the bug pit sequence, and I was like, man, that's gonna look gnarly beautiful as shit.
Yeah,
that was cool. That was cool as shit. He also did it for the original film, like they did a black and white version of it to be inserted. Like he did his best to recreate the original scene from as much evidence of it as we have, and you can watch the original film with that inserted in if you want it.
Oh, cool,
dude!
It's kind of cool.
The most frank sex talk I ever had with my dad was because he was explaining in the 33 version how they used condoms stretched over things as the screen to project the giant bugs on in the miniature scenes that were shot in miniature to comp together. And then I'm like, what's a condom? And I let it do. So it's forever linked with special effects. But what are your impressions walking away from Meet the Feebles with all that context?
I feel like I probably would have liked this if I had seen it as a teenager. Like I probably would have embraced this with the same sort of like punk rock nihilistic attitude that I did Dead Alive. Although this movie is way more dated, in my opinion. It's way more racist than Dead Alive is. This movie it feels like this is a movie trying to upset your parents. It's like way more juvenile than the other Peter Jackson movies that I've seen. So like this is not a movie that I enjoyed like as an adult. But I could see having really been into this, if I'd seen it as a shitty teenager, which I think is the right age to see this, because it's got shitty teenager attitude and opinions and edginess. Edgy. Yeah, like it thinks it's being real edgy, and it's so quaint now. But it is way, way more successful at the thing that it's doing. Like I'll give it, like Happy Time Murders is crap. Like that is a
gems.
Bad
Gonzo the pervert anteater.
That's like it's so
he sniffs panties, but he's allergic to them, so he's constantly dripping cum snot from his dick nose.
Like they kill him with borax. He snorts borax.
I think they
he ends up snorting borax and having his head dissolved. Of course, also very South Park, very Mr. Bill. Even
it's very South Park.
By the end, they're like, every single puppet is going to get turned inside out with a bunch of fake blood all over it. Right. What's the fuck? Like, there's only two or three buckets, right? Like, they do drugs, they say swears they would never say, they do sex acts they would never do, and then they all die grotesquely.
And then they all murder
99% of them are murdered grotesquely.
Well, it's a teenager's sketchbook.
Yeah. Complete with the assault rifle.
Spree ends with a spree shooting,
that's a machine gun.
Yeah, that's
straight up machine gun.
That's true. Yeah, it's
designed for suicide, M60. Forced to spree.
I believe because you didn't really ask a question, but I wanted to clarify it on mic, which is at one point when talking about the anteater, Dennis, I believe is his name.
Yes,
because it's
the rabbit,
backwards.
the
Harry, I think.
Yeah, Harry.
How's your jism pressure, Harry?
Yeah, the jism pressure. So I think. The implication
it's canon that the snot is his cum. Yeah.
He's so full of cum.
Oh, that it's coming out the nose as well.
The mouth.
It's not snot, it is cum.
Yeah, it's coming from his mouth. Like it's.
I mean, that leads to two of my favorite lines in the movie, by which I mean horrible, bad, no good lines that suck.
Oh boy.
No, well, so I want to chime in agreeing with Tom that it's such an interesting melange. This is possibly why there are Swaim nights. If people join us ever on our movie nights they know that I notoriously, if you only interact with my comedy, you probably don't know that I am also fascinated by dark, fucked up, awful shit that makes you feel weird. And this is one of the very first movies that ever found me. It's a core artifact of even this and a thing I've referenced multiple times, an H.R. Giger art book that my dad left out on the coffee table growing up. Are two of the artifacts that made me have a special space in my heart and a mind open to things like Eraserhead later in life, I think. Or an affinity for things where I'm like, oh, Lars von Trier has a new movie. Oh, everyone says it's just exploitative schlock. And you see a dick gets painfully split open in it. I got to see that. I have that in me. And Meet the Feebles is part of that. But part of the fascination with Meet the Feebles, I even remember, and I still feel this way, is the amount of effort lavished on something and then other parts are so not good. And I remember asking my dad, like, why is that line so bad? Like, there's no twist to it. Like the walrus just going, I was just about to pop my cookies. Like, I'm like, is it funny enough as a comedy writer to just go, I'm a cute puppet, but I'm gonna come right now? And I'm like, I don't think it is. And this was part of that education too. So what I find fascinating about it is you can so see him practicing diligently with effects, directing itself, the pacing of a plot. This is stupid to say, but the actual way things escalate out of control is well plotted. Like the Vietnam vet's going to freak out, which will lead to a misunderstanding. So the affair will get exposed. So she'll snap and do it. Like, but then all the lines are just like South Park season 1. Suck my dick, you fucking bitch. Like that's the level of shit we're talking about. This line I was referring to was, looks like Dennis is on another smelly minge binge. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, what am I doing? I'm 40, I have a son. Like, what am I? That was the one. Other standout lines for you guys?
Oh boy, it's gonna be a gusher.
It's gonna be a gusher.
I actually like this one just as a, like, not for the joke, just for joke reasons, not for the gross reasons. When Heidi they show the flashback for Heidi and the walrus who owns the joint,
Bletch,
and Heidi goes, Bletch, what a lovely name.
That's maybe the crown jewel. And I kept not understanding, is it Blatch, is it Bletch, is it Black, like in Mad Magazine? And then there's
the
like
license plate says Bletch.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Bletch.
There's a cow that sits on a puppet and kills him by face sitting and the rat's like, we could sell it as a snuff film. And her line is, I felt uncomfortable, but I thought it was just my hemorrhoids. And that's where I'm like, is this like placemat humor? Like, it's worse than dad humor.
Right.
It's the humor of someone tagging something in a sewer. It's like fucking fuck all this shit. Humor. Yeah. With a few moments of good
jokes
shit
that are normally carved into bathroom stalls.
But juxtaposed with Peter Jackson being like, now hold on, I'm really trying to do something with the lighting here and the camera move here. And that's what's so weird about it, is you can see the director of Lord of the Rings in this movie, I would also posit, to some degree.
I would posit.
Yeah, take it away from me. I'm talking way too much.
1982, Dark Crystal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Peter Jackson strolls into that theater. He watches that, and he experienced what we all did when we watched Dark Crystal for the first time, which is this severe uncanny valley that almost, I would argue, a lot of people love Dark Crystal. I don't think Dark Crystal ever gets away from this problem. I think Dark Crystal
you're like, oh, puppets can make me feel weird.
Like, I can't with these scenes, man. I can't. Like, look at that fucking thing. Look at that fucking thing. You know, like, there's a part of me inside my brain, like my brain, who's saying that, even though I'm trying to.
And you mean the Gelflings here, right? The human ones. Yeah.
The Skeksis or whatever too.
Skeksis,
but I think Peter Jackson saw that and was like, all right, let's get it done. Let's fucking end this.
You know that feeling? You know that feeling you got from Dark Crystal? Yeah. What if we like turned that up really, really loud? What if we took that feeling and then injected walking in on your parents having sex?
Yes.
So it's the natural. It's like, what if how Meet the Parents led to much more severe incarnations of the same impulse? Because I would say just natural. Yeah.
It's just natural, man. That's my.
I mean,
theory.
That's a natural way for art to go. Yeah, let's try harder and bigger.
Also, Labyrinth was 1986, and Labyrinth's got a little of that.
But what I admire about him, and the Beatles as well, for that matter, there's like this meta media, like I don't care even if I like your work or if I'm engaging with. It's the fact, just the idea of the 10,000 hours, and I know that's largely debunked now too, and Malcolm Gladwell sucks, but I'm saying literally just, it's cool that one of the keys to getting good at any craft is it doesn't, as long as you're trying hard for many hours at a stretch, you will improve. So it's like this dude, I would argue, has a bad script with a bad sense of humor that is like they use racial slurs and treat groups poorly and have nothing interesting to say about that. But you can tell that he worked really hard on it. And that led to him getting good enough to make The Frighteners and Lord of the Rings. And there's shots that I signaled out where I'm like, oh, why is that shot good though? That shot's actually good. And hard to make. Like, you can look at that shot and know it's hard to make. Like when Harry, their puppet that they can only afford to make a couple of, has to like pop all his AIDS sores and spray goo on the lens. You can only shoot that so many times. Or even the power move of doing a spree shooting with your whole cast at the end. Think of how low budget this is. They can't do, like, you have to actually exercise directing skills and organizational skills, obviously, to make all this shit work. Case in point, after making Team America, Matt and Trey said, puppets are so fucking hard to work with, we're never doing that again. They're famously, like, takes great diligence and patience to make this cow's hemorrhoids really read on camera as she snuffs a dog's life out.
It's a cricket, I think, or a grasshopper.
Cricket, yeah. I love that they dispose of all the Muppets by getting eaten by just a giant Shai Hulud worm that lives in the basement.
Yeah, that they just feed the bodies.
Dead Muppets. Mr. Big.
The Eldritch horror worm. Yeah, I love it.
Dude, for one tiny scene, it immediately gets yanked apart and killed and is all full of goo. They do this incredible crab puppet that is able to be ripped apart and bleed. Like, you know, this shit is not... And like the porcupine, who's the heart, who's the butters, will hit his mark in a way where a painterly light will slash across his eyes. Anyway, and then it just, but then you watch it and you're like, this sucks though. This is really, it has lines like, you're old, and you're fat and you smell bad. And I'm like, whoever wrote this is mean. I don't like Peter Jackson off of this movie. Trevor, I want that fudge packer eliminated. And I'm like, Jesus.
Ugh, yeah.
Jesus. The worm was always getting upskirts whenever Piggy runs over him.
Worm.
Freaked reminded me of Freaked Worm. I also realized it's very...
Is that what he's doing? That's not how I read it. I read it as him trying not to get stepped on.
Oh, I assumed that he was a perv
because he's not looking up.
But he acts nice the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I think he's all right. I think he's just trying not to get stepped on. But maybe I read that wrong. I don't know.
They drive through a womb.
Yeah, they just drive straight through Mr. Big. They just burst out of his asshole.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. And I love
that's a giant whale puppet comes out of nowhere.
It's a giant whale because he makes the ambergris.
I do love reference. That joke. My suit is covered in ambergris.
So they're doing the like Pinocchio bullshit, right? That's like what, and they're driving through in this dope ass
car wash puppet.
And it just it cuts to the outside, and he's like convulsing. The whale is like in pain. Cuts to the rat driver, and he's freaking out, and but it cuts back to the walrus, and he's just fixing his tie. This is business as usual. I thought that was so fucking cool.
That Peter Jackson clearly displays his knowledge of like sequential storytelling that a comic book artist would be proud of.
Exactly.
Where it's like, how do you show this simply? Oh, we just need the hands, then the eyes, then he fixes his tie. That shows his level of don't give a fuck. Yeah, he's amazing at it.
There's another joke that reminds me of the same thing that I'm like, that's a Simpsons joke. Simpsons would do that because it's like when they kill the fly and they flush him down the toilet, he's a journalist. So what? It's not even a joke. It's just a demarcator. It's just a thing that Looney Tunes does. A notebook floats to the top of the toilet bowl as he dies. It's
that's
just
lean,
like, oh,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like, why are you trying to inject poetry into this
the
awful
death of
slop
shit-eating?
Yeah. But that's how
that puppet.
That puppet.
They were like, let's make a realistic fly puppet that actually eats shit with really realistic shit, and he gets his wings ripped off, painfully screaming, "Why? Yeah, fucking." It goes as hard as you think it can go, and yet there's other ways where they knew the craft had to be there. For example. They knew the songs couldn't be phoned in. Whether you find them enduringly catchy or not, do you guys agree with me that the songs where you're like, that's catchy enough that you could tell they tried? They tried to make that a catchy tune. I really believe that Peter Jackson cared about that. Because I can whistle these show tunes. Not that I will, but.
Yeah, I mean.
In the same way that like South Park does, I think, honors their music.
Yeah.
If you disagree, bring it, please.
I think they're better at it, South Park, but
Uncle
it's the same. It's the same.
Stuck in my head forever.
It's the same thing we've been saying though, where it's kind of like the jokes just aren't there, where it's just like the most obvious cudgel type, edgy humor. They did try, but it's like they're middle school jokes, like the sodomy song that Sebastian sings. It's like, all right, guys. I mean,
it's literally just I like sodomy, I'm gay, I like sodomy. That is the joke. But at the end of that, though, they do the class where they cut to the whole crowd and it's dead silent. I really wanted one or two people to clap. Way funnier, right?
Somebody
if a
really
couple
loving
people are super into it, yeah.
What was subjective?
Right. What was funny about that to me is just earlier where he's saying. Like the Bletch is pushing back against Sebastian putting it on, and he's like, no, they're going to be into it. It's very artistic. It's very like he's talking about how like artistic and refined or whatever it is, and then it's just this blunt force. Fucking
what if you fuck me in the asshole
for 2 minutes?
Yeah. True that the lyrics, I guess I wasn't even thinking of the lyrics. I'm thinking of the fact that I could see a phoned in version of this idea where they're like, let's do the offensive Muppets, X-rated Muppets. We've seen this movie like on DVD many times throughout our earlier lives. Like we lived in a complex with a guy who was very proud of producing the movie Skid Marks about two little people who work as ER dog, like and drive around doing really fucked up raunchy cases in the back of an ambulance that they rented. So I'm like, they could have done this version, the straight to TV version of this, where the songs are not even whistleable, but I remember like I'll always remember we're not your average ordinary people. Meet the like there are at least tunes. But you're right that like the lyric I wrote down was shiny, shiny fishy in the ocean blue, swam into a sewage pipe, poo, poo, poo. He said, I'm the shit. I better take a dive. Stuck his head out of the water and began to jive. I got one leg missing. I got one leg missing. I got one leg missing. How do I get around? And like that's stuck in my head, but you're right that the lyrics are nonsense.
It's nonsense, but a lot of lyrics are nonsense. I'm not going to defend this movie, but
yes, go defend it.
Yeah, but sodomy. Now, there's moments where you like how like this is I'm titling this section how I learned to love the raunch, because like the blue elephant, right? What's his
voice is great.
Yeah, who's like an abandoned father, like
he's a deadbeat dad, background grip type guy.
Right.
With
so there's
show.
that detail, but his job as part of the circus or whatever is to train animals who are basically like these little mogwai or trebles or whatever that piss and throw up everywhere, and it's you get it.
That actually is a great offer if you're gonna do tribbles, is because they talk about that in Trek but never follow through in it.
Like,
wouldn't they
really
be shitting and pissing everywhere? That's what would suck about it. Yeah.
That's what's
They ate all the grain.
And these furry little
constantly vomiting, eating his creams and throwing them up.
Yeah, exactly. But like in terms of sequence, as you were saying, like I think the pacing of this movie is incredible. I think you dialed it in. They tightened the screws so well, because it's like you get that offer and immediately on top of that, not even 30 seconds later, these furry little balls are like pancaked by a barrel. And then the rat immediately picks one up like roadkill, like peels it off the pavement and eats it. And you have to look at that, embrace that as a sequence that is like, okay, it's 1989. I don't mean to give more license to older movies, but I do think you have to think of it in terms of that audience. Like those audiences were different than us. We've seen everything after 1989, so it feels gimmicky to us, but it's one of the first instances of that kind of thing happening.
Is that impulse bringing the sentimentality, by the way, that was alive and well in comic books, because there's no the budget's so low.
It's not the first.
That to TV finally. And of course, like you said, more visionary filmmakers predate this, but certainly this is one of the reasons we laud The Simpsons, but it's so drowned out that I think younger generations won't know how seminal, or they'll be hazy on what was ahead of its time. This was ahead of its time on taking that Looney Tunes sentiment of a compound Spielbergian shot that accomplishes several chunks of information and accomplishing it. But it's like if you built it out of turds and you're like, look what I made.
And I mean, someone had to do that, right?
Cool, man. Cool, man. Yeah. So case in point, his arc ends with he finally takes ownership over the half chicken, half elephant baby that he keeps denying paternity of, when they do the joke that she gets her head shot off or ripped off in the killing spree.
Shot off.
And the joke is, you know how chickens still run around with their head cut off. So the quote unquote joke is, as the baby sits there crying for its mother, the mother's head is going, oh, my baby, while the body runs around spraying her blood onto her own baby. That's the joke. And again, I put that in air quotes. Yeah. The joke is, how extreme can this be? And then he's like, you are my son, or whatever. In that moment, he decides he does care about the baby.
He gets his kneecaps blown out.
Yeah, but he lives, right? Doesn't he and the baby?
He does, yeah. He and the baby go on
just
to
like simple people in the future.
Thing.
Yeah, they live. They're farmers, and also so much effort to the Dr. Duck puppet that didn't. They only see for one scene to tell Harry he has AIDS. Yeah,
Dr. Quack, clear slam dunk.
We see him again. He calls him back and tells him he was wrong.
Oh, that's you were wrong. I also wanted to ask Tom, because I feel like Tom's someone who will know this. That's a classic Looney Tunes voice. That's a reference of an old gay-coded comedian. Who is that? Why can I not think of
Paul
who
Lind,
is he referencing? Paul Lind. Thank you, sir.
So we got Peter Lorre,
a center square type guy. Yep. Yes, there's a Peter Lorre in here. There's a Paul Lind. Miss Piggy basically sounds like the twin guys from Home Movies, or like Elmo. I'm singing a song.
Yeah.
And then there was a voice that made me realize Oh, it was the druggy frog from Numb made me realize it's very telling that you can do an impression of the zany Doc Brown from those Back to the Future movies, or Al Pacino, one of our greatest actors. And again, it's kind of the same.
They're sort of the
He's
same
one
voice.
or the other. Yeah.
Marty,
he's either Doc Brown or Al Pacino.
Future.
Yeah, it's kind of what like Charlie Day focused on in his Al Pacino, where he's like, Attica. It's like finding Al Pacino when he's most unhinged, almost is at the cusp
of Doc Brown.
Of Doc Brown.
But it's a deer hunter thing, so I assume he's Pacino. Or that was De Niro, though, right?
Well, I mean, they do the deer hunter thing, right?
They do a clear deer. Yeah, they also
and I forget the character's name, but in Deer Hunter, there's one of those types.
Oh no, it's Christopher Walken. If I'm recalling movies I haven't seen correctly. Yeah, but they do.
But De Niro
I should watch that. But that also brings up they really elegantly weave in excuses to stretch because they're like he's like Peter Jackson clearly or someone on the team was like, I want to do a black and white flashback so we can see not just a young Heidi puppet, but period puppet costumes of a complete crowd of extra puppets. And it lets me practice black and white lighting, which is a completely different exercise than color lighting on a puppetry set. And then similarly, they're like, oh, we did this shit in Agents of Crack. Oh, we should do a drug flashback of Vietnam. Why? Change of scenery. You get to do jungle shit. You get to do different costumes. Yeah. You get to do problematic Vietnamese depictions, which we did in Agents of Crack, and this does even more.
Problematic GI puppets, too.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this implies that the Viet Cong were cannibals, that they cannibalized. True. Like But
that's something... That's kind of the biggest note I had about this movie, and what you said, Michael, reminded me that I hadn't brought it up yet, is it feels like a reel. Like it feels like it feels like he and his team are just kind of showing off what they can do.
Sketch a little, yeah.
Or like Weta Workshop owes its origins to this impulse that you see here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's interesting that's sort of like the direct link to him getting Lord of the Rings, right? I know he made like a pitch that they really liked that kept it under a budget that they liked, but also he had lots of experience with practical and digital effects, and he had Weta Workshop.
You have to think that a bunch of people in the room making the decision were like, well, look at what he does with puppets.
Like what he can do.
You realize like 40 to 60% of our characters are going to be puppets.
Are going to be somehow involved with this type of thing, which, digital filmmaking was right there. And it's funny that he did use the special effects. It's all over Lord of the Rings. This is one of, won awards for that. But like, the CGI also was top tier. Like, so he's just grabbing from so many disciplines. I mean, he had the money, but it really is a testament to how much Peter Jackson is like a technical sponge.
Attention to detail too. Obsessive.
A true James Cameron.
A James Hemorrhoid. You would have loved that joke at this age. It feels
would have loved it.
Like when you so well.
When you die in this movie, like the Tribbles, it's a relief to you, the puppet. Doesn't it? You're like, thank God I'm fucking out of this.
Thank fucking Christ I'm not in this anymore.
This feels like a hell dimension, or like a good VHS segment that takes place in hell. Their lives. Yeah, even like the puppets with power have such awful Departed style lives of misery.
It's such a mean-spirited movie. It's just so mean. We're just like I'm down with that, depending on what mood I'm in and depending on the genre.
It really reminded me of a movie we covered, I believe, with Tom. It made me feel the way I feel when I watch The Cook the Thief, her wife and her lover.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I don't want to be here, and I can tell that you're adeptly doing that on purpose. Bravo. Yeah, this sucks. I hate this.
Yeah. Says the guy who wants to see penises being cleaved.
And it works. No, I admire the ability, just like I admire the ability to make me cry, make me laugh, the ability to make, you're doing it, Peter. I feel repelled, really repelled. And it's just felt and film, that is cool. Good job. It's a sometimes food for sure.
Yeah, I don't love mean-spirited comedies. Like those are hard for me.
Agreed. That's why Freaked, I feel like, remains my favorite, because it's like this if the script was funny and good.
Yeah, but this movie has one of the best scenes, Tom, that I know you're down with because we've talked about it basically.
The frothy elephant piss.
At one point, the frothy piss. No.
Oh yes!
At one point,
the dog puppet.
God, just
I have to go on in 5 minutes. Just being drenched with a fire hose of piss.
God,
no! I'm talking about at one point the walrus sits on his own balls, and he goes, "Oh me nuts!
Oh me nuts!"
And that's I know you love that kind of humor.
Wasn't the walrus? That was Harry trying to crush the fly.
Oh, that was Harry.
Yeah,
that was Harry. My bad.
Smacks himself in the balls. Yeah,
he smacks himself.
Stone.
The walrus at one point is getting a barbed blowjob from the cat, just laying on his tongue, licking his dick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to point out that it's not just that he does a sodomy song. That's what actually shows it as mathematically, right? You can be really offensive, and there can be joke math things that I still recognize as that shows talent. And I think it shows thoughtful skill that it's not just that it's the sodomy song. It's if you step back and you conceptually realize, wow, they're doing a Godfather, because it's a silent shooting spree of just people getting killed, which is symbolically a parody of how Miss Piggy would always go nuts at the end of Muppet episodes and flip out on everyone and hit them. So they are doing a recognizable parody of something and blowing it out to a grotesque degree, and they're doing it as a Godfather christening thing. But the song is a song about getting fucked in the ass. It's like, mathematically at every level, we've defiled this thing. And I'm just saying, if that's what you set out to do, yeah, you did that. Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
You did it.
It's also the interest in the
It
bags.
also defiles the Godfather in a way.
You choose when you're like, what is this thing? All right, I have this idea. I want to be raunchy with these puppets, right? That's for sure what's happening.
That's what's happening.
And then you go, okay, so what's the story about? And to like, I think that intelligence is kind of shown also by the buckets you choose. And I think it's really funny that he chose, we're going to do Godfather, like gangster movie kind of stuff. But also we're going to dress it up with, this is Noises Off. You know, like we are just going to show the like political kind of
seedy underbelly
stratosphere of actors, you know, like which is an old tale and also a popular tale, but it's one that's like kind of
that is the Muppets,
scholastic,
right? Isn't the Muppets?
It's a smarty pants. Yeah,
the Muppet Show was literally that.
They went behind the stage sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah.
They really. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's really just pulling from Muppets.
That was like water in the desert for me though, because as this movie was getting going, it's like, oh boy, gonna be racist puppets and racist jokes and just trying real hard to be edgy.
It's like they're animals, so it's okay. I'm allowed to say this. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can put gigantic lips on this puppet and it's fine because he's a puppet.
Oh, the whole background band are black, I guess. But what I mean is they're black-skinned eels with big lips and, characteristic.
So it's 8-Ball in the Vietnam scene.
Like, all right, guys. Yeah.
But when it became clear to me that this was going to be one evening and them rehearsing the show and then them that it was going to be a Noises Off, I was like, oh, there's an identifiable actual thing of cleverness and joke thing that I can, like you were saying, Michael, where it's like I can at least identify the joke here and I can see, and so, and then I'm able to like stick with it because boy, I was worried it was going to be much more of a slog than it was. And then, once you get into the movie from there and see all the talent that's involved, like we've been talking about, makes it easier for like the fact that it's kind of groan inducing humor.
And I kind of think if you've seen Dead Alive, you do know where the gore is going to, you're like, okay, I'm sure this is going to slide into that level of gore as well. And you're familiar with it. So like
Harry popping his zits in the mirror is straight out of Dead Alive. It's like, it's the W-L.
The Dennis snorting borax and then the puppet's head like dissolving.
Like the wizard,
combined with my understanding as a young person, because I had read it in a Vonnegut book that his mother committed suicide by drinking borax on Mother's Day, or Drano, I think. And that was like That really, really, really did scar me, man. That scene where Dennis snorts the borax. It's rough. If don't show your kid this movie. It was too much.
The key
it was
is
too far.
steam.
But man,
when
that giant spider
steams
was cool.
or fogs up, like because I got that from like Gremlins too. When it's like,
and it really
I guess even
did
Gremlins
scare you because this.
Yeah, it was always like what
Roger
that
Rabbit.
artificial fog.
Dissolves the shoe.
The
really
dip fucked me up too. It really did. Yeah.
The dip fucked everyone up.
It's when the thing. It's when the cartoon character expresses real feeling pain. It's just your human empathy neurons. You're like
terror. It's the terror.
You're like,
of the
why is the chicken so sad that its baby is dead? That's what makes it not funny to me anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Tom said, the joke about Heidi they keep going to is she's so fat the stage breaks, and you're like, man, you really couldn't think of anything good for her. Huh?
Well, at the same time, giving us her just punishingly tragic backstory.
Just used. It's like pushed based on Heidi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the standard predatory Hollywood story, but they play it out as being very real, even though she's a giant hippo.
But then we have the good character, the Tim Robbins from Hudsucker Vibes Porcupine, who's like here to
I hate him.
And what I was going to say is,
I hate that fucking Butters ass.
By the end, she gets almost date raped, and he sees her in a stupor.
She's apologizing to him
and goes, "I'm so sorry you see me like this." And he goes, "Not good enough, you hussy. If I knew you were a woman of such ill repute." And you're like, I guess it's all a misunderstanding. No, fuck that guy. Like, even the good guy sucks ass. I did forget how much he sucks. Yeah, he's awful.
You're loose and you're a lush.
You're woos and you're marriage.
Marriage.
Do they get together at the end? I think they do.
Yeah.
Because she apologizes to him.
So that's what I'm saying.
Unfaithful. I was being raped.
And he's like, oh, okay. That's what's genuinely offensive because I know that because the movie math treats him as he is your oasis.
Good. We're supposed to feel the, oh no, we're supposed to feel the sitcom
they had a misunderstanding.
Right. Yeah,
like,
that's not a misunderstanding. We understand him perfectly now.
That spider puppet feels like real material for sure. I wonder if he had any scuttlebutt that Lord of the Rings was looking at him because the spider puppet feels like he's trying to show that he could do it if he needed to. That is
genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the cartoon.
Rizzo the rat gets behind the wheel. It's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
yeah. And
they also light it really well. They put it on a black void because they probably had to. It looks like it's a substantial puppet.
I love how on the opposite end, that rat puppet feels like he must weigh less than a pound. He's just like some scraps on a wire hanger. And I know
he's so skeezy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually that whole section is fantastic at the docks. Like because not only are they outside and they're outside of where they were shooting because 80% of it is
the
stage.
End of The Departed. Sorry,
it is the end of 80% of the movie is stage, so that they have complete control. They can stop and start at any time. They did do stage stuff, but it's a completely different stage. It's like they have to do water effects and stuff like that. Like they had a whole company move just for that the climax, out at the docks, and that probably was of equal amount of money as the normal stage, and they only shot like 10% of the movie on it. Like they really splurged in terms of budget. They were like, let's do a whole new build. Like I thought that's one of the most impressive parts is also, given that this was made for less than $1 million, they have production moves and stuff like that. That's where the cost.
Shocking. And that's not fun.
Yeah.
People who watch it will be like, is it? It looks grungy and dim and shitty and cheap. Yes, but start counting.
Yeah.
There's that many puppets
there are.
And the sets they built and decorated and spaces they rented out and the camera equipment and who would have to be there and the walrus puppet getting damaged and rebuilt and in and out of the walrus puppet because there's a guy in there in the walrus case and the hippo case. It's pretty surprising that it's that cheap. They do some Power Rangers sequences with dudes in mascot suits for sure.
For sure. But and it's something you mentioned earlier too. It's the different multiple versions of each puppet. Like there's like 3 versions of Harry the Rabbit.
Yeah, they had to set it differently. A lot of
puppets.
There's young Heidi who's younger and slimmer and has less like rings under her eyes. And
It's a completely different puppet, yeah.
That despite all the places they did cut corners in terms of articulation or movement, like this is what makes him, I think, the whole team skilled and good. They know what's important to a storyteller. They clearly paid great attention to the eye articulation. They're like, no matter how lazy and shitty our puppets look compared to Jim Henson's, who look they set the industry standard.
Yeah.
The eyelids is the word I was looking for, have to move, and we have to have control over the eyelids because otherwise
where
it just all
expression
falls
comes
apart.
from.
Even though it's a fucking pain. And I feel like the Team Leica knows that too. Even though it's a fucking pain, Paranorman's eyebrows have to be very expressive.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, they prioritize correctly. If you only got $1 million, that's necessary.
Another telltale thing to me is that when it's like, when you're working on these kinds of things with massive details on these huge projects, right? You can cut corners. There are corners being cut in terms of, all right, this is the standard of what we're making. But once you kind of consolidated that in your mind as a craftsperson, like this is how it's going to look, or this is the wood I'm going to use, or whatever, you kind of have to make decisions like triage about, all right, that character's on screen for 50 frames. That one's for 280. That one's for 1,000. Like you look at these things and go, that I have to prioritize that tiny little detail. Let's not make that good. They never do that. They almost always double down on the small characters. Like, oh, we just need a fucking doctor for a second. Let's make him even more unhinged and have him even more operable in terms of like the puppetry.
It's interesting. Like you might see some hot glue at the seams, so it might feel low budget in that way, but you'll see high effort fucking everywhere. Like they won't skimp on anything they have control over if it's just hours. Like, oh, it's just man hours, then we'll just do that. Which is an ethos we love. Yeah,
that's right. It's, you can see the love.
This made me realize by parodying Tribbles that Nibbler clearly started as a what would be a good funny Tribble reference, because Futurama's Star Trek in that sense. Oh, what if there was only one, but he ate just as much as thousands would eat at once?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
I think that is how Nibbler came to be, as a Tribbles reference, probably, given the ibble of it all.
Seems like
you're probably right about that.
I feel so bad.
And he's a
lovely name,
seemingly cute thing that has actually a serious logistical
sucks.
Problem with
it. Right. How do you guys feel about? Because that to me is the biggest flex. And then what's funny is it's an anti-flex. They're like, we're gonna do a long, slow pan across the audience of thousands of spectator Muppets who have come to see the show, and it's just like paper plates with animal masks drawn on them taped to chairs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was so ballsy and the perfect time in the movie to stop giving a shit. That was another example to me of he knows when to try hard and when to go, but really they're just fucking Muppets. This sucks. We made it in our garage. Who gives a shit? Even though that's not true. Right, but he knows when to play that.
It's so grimy, I didn't even flag that.
Oh, it's sold to you as a good shot? Go look at that shot. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
It didn't sell to me as a good shot. I just didn't notice it.
It's mostly paper plates.
The whole thing is grimy.
The whole thing is grimy. So the fact that the audience just looks like fucking avatars from hell, it just slid right over me. I have to go back and look at it now.
I do know what you mean, though. Something that, like, ever since we covered Cannibal the Musical, I think about the Spadoinkle joke. Like commonly, like day to day, but just the idea of then in the act 2 changing the meaning of Spadoinkle. Like, what's the one thing we know about Spadoinkle for the first 30 minutes of the movie?
Cool,
it means good.
Like
it means what a fantastic day, Spadoinkle.
And the guy stubs his toe. He goes, Spadoinkle, and you're like, wait, what does that mean?
It's just like, what the fuck?
In a bear trap.
And that's like the perfect time to say fuck it. Like, like. There's something to be said about build a system and then just have fun with it. Remember that this is all just make 'em ups. But that's such a,
you can only break the system if you take your own stupid game seriously enough. That the math hole is consistent. That's all. And that's what I think some edgelordism loses or misses is they have no underlying games besides I am breaking taboos. I am breaking taboos. And once most of us, after you're 19, 20, 21, you start to gravitate towards like, yeah, you can do that and juggle more plates than that at once. That's you need, So this has other things going on as well as just that.
Yeah, not just Ricky Gervais.
But there is a lot of Ricky Gervais humor where I'm like, yeah.
Quite a lot.
That's just what that was. Like Peter Jackson, I don't know if he wrote the script himself, or whoever was the impulse behind the writing.
He is a credited writer.
He's credited as 4.
Like, I don't know that they were destined to become Key and Peele. You know, he found his groove, which is the humor of Lord of the Rings is not trying to be like clever per se.
I mean, he's like kind of he's like a Cameron Gilliam mix. Like,
I totally
make a Cronenberg,
see that. Yeah.
Make a Cronenberg of Gilliam and Cameron, and you get Peter Jackson. That makes no sense. There's no reason why anyone would understand what I'm saying with that.
I sort of get it. No, he's a perfectionist craftsman.
Technologically,
yeah, and
weird taste at the same time.
He's got like a bizarre ass taste that is actually funny half the time,
and emphatically lo-fi for any era. Like, the whole point is that it's grungy, punk, the punk aesthetic, I guess. I don't know. These are just broad strokes. They don't really inform the man.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense to me, because Gilliam comes from comedy, and then, you know.
Yeah, it's just wild that you can't at this point look at this movie and not think about Lord of the Rings just constantly.
The choice of making Arthur's eyes so big that they always have the diamond eyelight in them is such a strong choice to make you know that he has a soul. He's not like the rest.
Yeah.
There's so much smart shit.
I didn't pick up on that. That's really cool.
The worm gets a little bit of that too.
That's what I meant. Arthur is the worm, I believe.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
They do it with the porcupine, but with the worm, he specifically has a diamond in the upper left of his eyes in every shot. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that was to accomplish? But it works. It makes you feel about him the way it's supposed to.
That's not
Jiminy
painted
Cricket's
on.
Eyes.
No, I'm pretty sure it's highlight. Yeah, he has diegetic Jiminy Cricket's eyes in most or not all, if not all, of his shots.
That's a really nice touch. I like that idea. It's almost like thinking of live action as an animated film, right?
Right. It's like, well, if we make his glass eyes extra big, we'll get that effect. I'm like, that's
because I know that they do that in like Rango. I think Rango's eyelight is different from everyone else's, or like as he infects people as he goes,
and it snuffs out their eyelight. I think
it snuffs out the snake slit eyelight. Yeah. I believe
Rango's way better than it should have been.
People, the people Rango behind it thought it through really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the era where that was
go on, Rango.
Yeah.
I like The Office when Kelly he did it like Rango, where he tricks them all, but then he didn't mean it like Rango. I haven't seen Rango.
I read on the trivia page that this film is banned in Ireland as of 2023. Still banned
in the Emerald Isles. You know what else really fucks me up? I wonder, because there's not like a crazy IRA depiction. Is it just it's so fucking
I'm trying
upsetting?
To find why, like, what created the ire?
The other edgelord move that really did fuck me up as a kid, and I think does hammer home that it's suffering, implied suffering that as a kid really fucks you up. Or at least me, is the fish that auditions for Bletch, and then Bletch eats the fish and then vomits her up later, and she is still alive like a Looney Tunes cartoon would do. So she goes, "Did I get the part?" and then dies, implying that she's had this hellish 2-hour being digested experience that just gave me nightmares.
Yeah, no, it's as a kid, he has no qualms. Well, he steps on her just to show off that he's the worst kind of.
Yeah, he's awful.
Lyndon Johnson is a bad egg is a good thing in the Vietnam sequence. That's the propaganda they have to read at gunpoint. Lyndon Johnson is a bad egg.
A bad egg.
Tribble's thing was my last note I had. Other than like for all of its racism, which is why I won't recommend it.
Yeah.
The Vietnam flashback sequence is incredible. In terms of being totally amoral eye candy, that's horrible, that I don't endorse. It's also beautifully mesmerizing.
Very
as a
impressive.
Work of puppetry. Yeah. God damn, what a movie! Get out of my head, Doc Slap.
Sebastian is voiced by Father Magruder from Dead Alive.
Oh, who kicks ass on behalf of the Lord?
Yeah.
Kicks ass for the Lord. Yeah.
So he's the one singing the sodomy song, presumably.
Oh, that's
he
cool.
voices that character. I'm not sure if he's singing the song, but
there's also a Hobbit.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear about this? What is it? I think Brian. No, it's
Mark.
One of the Hobbits
right?
is in what?
Mark Hadlow. You're right.
Mark Hadlow. Okay.
And he was Harry in King Kong, and he's a dwarf in The Hobbit. You'll totally recognize him because he's got a very dwarf face.
He's got one of them faces.
And he is the voice of Heidi, Robert, Barry, and some chorus people.
There's some Peter Jackson regulars in here.
There's some regulars, yeah. Got to call it out. Well, all right. I think that's a good place to
let's call it.
Put it to bed. I did have one last thought, just in terms of like Doc Slaphammer. Thank you for your patronage. Obviously, that was a good little.
Great run.
You did a little rondo. Right
Seemed
there.
like a weird little creep.
You're a little creep. You're our little creep, Slaphammer. Just know that as you get tucked in tonight.
Our slappy little creep.
I'm sorry I'm still in The Office. I just rewatched it, but one of the better Toby digs is, why? Where are we going? Where are we going? I'm going to smack you in the head with a hammer. Just come on. We have fun. Tom, where can people have fun with you?
Oh, man. Well, you can find me over at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's the podcast and streaming network I co-run with David Bell, our mutual friend and colleague and wonderful person. Yeah, and I do some writing at Somewhere News, but mainly it's Gamefully Unemployed, patreon.com/Gamefully Unemployed, or just search for that wherever you listen to podcasts. We got all kinds of good stuff. So check that out.
Good plug, Tom.
Solid plug-in.
Well,
solid plug-in.
I'm always completely at a loss. I never have a plug prepared.
Yeah.
So every time I do it, it's like it's the first time I've been asked.
Yeah, you're plug pro.
Yep. So good at it. I don't think about it at all.
Seamless. It just, you go into a fugue state and then you come out of it.
I have no idea what happened.
Think about it.
I could have told you guys my social security number. I have no idea.
It's surprising. We can see you on the Zoom. Your eyes just rolled back.
Is that what that string of numbers was? That's what you've basically been doing. Okay.
That's just how it sounds.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for being here, my man.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.